Echoes from the sky. It was a quiet night in the small town of Millwood. The kind of night where every sound seemed magnified, and even the slightest rustle could send shivers down your spine. Lucy had just moved into her late grandmother's old house on the outskirts of town. It was a quaint little place, nestled near the dense woods that many townsfolk avoided after dark. Lucy had always loved the tranquility of the countryside, but tonight, something felt off. Lucy sat on the porch, sipping tea and gazing up at the clear, star-filled sky. The air was crisp, and the silence was only broken by the occasional hoot of an owl. As she admired the constellations, a sudden flash of light caught her eye. It was bright, unnatural, and it moved with an eerie precision. The light darted across the sky, stopping abruptly, then shooting off at impossible angles. Lucy's heart began to race. She set her tea down and stood up, eyes fixed on the strange phenomenon above. The light grew closer, descending slowly. It was then that Lucy realized it wasn't just a light, but a craft of some sort, unlike anything she had ever seen. It hovered silently above the trees, casting an otherworldly glow over the forest. The hairs on the back of her neck stood up as a low hum filled the air. The hum grew louder, resonating through her bones, making her feel as if the ground beneath her was vibrating. Lucy backed into the house, locking the door behind her. She grabbed her phone, intending to call someone, anyone, but found there was no signal. The hum grew louder still, filling the house with its oppressive sound. The lights flickered, then went out completely, plunging her into darkness. Panic set in as she fumbled for a flashlight, her breath coming in short, shallow gasps. She found the flashlight and turned it on, the beam cutting through the darkness. The hum was deafening now, vibrating the walls and rattling the windows. Lucy moved cautiously towards the window, peering out from behind the curtain. The craft hovered closer, its light illuminating the yard. She could see the outline of the trees, casting long, twisted shadows that seemed to writhe and contort in the unnatural light. Suddenly, the hum stopped. Silence enveloped the house, a silence so profound it was almost suffocating. Lucy held her breath, straining to hear any sound, any indication of what was happening outside. The flashlight flickered, and she felt a cold draft pass through the room, even though all the windows were shut tight. Lucy turned towards the kitchen, where the draft seemed to be coming from. The door to the basement was ajar, a faint light emanating from the depths below. She didn't remember leaving the door open, and the sight of it sent a chill down her spine. With trembling hands, she made her way to the basement door, her flashlight casting eerie shadows on the walls. As she descended the creaking stairs, the temperature dropped noticeably. Her breath came out in visible puffs, and she could feel the icy grip of fear tightening around her heart. The basement was empty, save for a few old boxes and cobweb-covered furniture. The light was coming from a crack in the wall, a crack that hadn't been there before. She approached the crack, her flashlight beam trembling as much as her hands. The light from the crack pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat. Lucy reached out, hesitating for a moment before touching the wall. The moment her fingers made contact, a shock of electricity surged through her, and the wall crumbled away, revealing a hidden chamber. Inside the chamber, a strange device sat on a pedestal, emitting the pulsing light. It was otherworldly in design, with intricate patterns and symbols etched into its surface. Lucy felt an inexplicable pull towards it, as if it was calling to her. She stepped into the chamber, the light enveloping her. As she approached the device, a sudden, intense fear gripped her. The light began to change, shifting from a soft glow to a harsh, blinding brilliance. She shielded her eyes, but the light seemed to penetrate her very being. The hum returned, louder than ever, reverberating through her mind. Lucy tried to turn back, but found she couldn't move. The light and sound overwhelmed her senses, and she felt herself being pulled towards the device. Her vision blurred, and her thoughts became fragmented. Just as she thought she would be consumed by the light, everything stopped. She found herself lying on the floor of the basement, the device and the chamber gone. The wall was intact, as if it had never been disturbed. The hum had ceased, and the house was silent once more. Lucy's heart pounded in her chest as she stumbled up the stairs and out into the yard. The craft was gone. The sky was clear, the stars twinkling innocently as if nothing had happened. Lucy's phone buzzed to life, signal restored. She called the police, but when they arrived, they found no evidence of anything unusual. The event was dismissed as a vivid hallucination brought on by stress. But Lucy knew what she had experienced was real. She felt changed, marked by the encounter. The nights in Millwood were never the same for her. Every time she looked up at the sky, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching, waiting. The small town seemed peaceful, but Lucy knew better. The visitor from the night sky had left its mark, and she would never forget the terror of that night.